There are four ditches that keep kingdom men single and in cycles you can't name but feel every day. If you don't know what ditch keeps tripping you up, you won't understand why your progress keeps stalling. You think I should be further along by now, not because you wasted your life, not because God overlooked you, but because somewhere along the way you've tripped up again and again. There are kingdom men that aren't battling wickedness, they're battling weariness. Not rebellion, but resignation. Not confusion, but collapse. The reason so many men feel stuck, delayed, overlooked, or behind in their marriage story is not because they lack desire, but because they're fighting battles in shallow ditches. You're not behind. You're not broken. You're not disqualified. You're just in a ditch. And once you see the terrain clearly, everything changes. This is the environment men are trying to date, build, pursue, and lead inside of. It's not that you can't find your path. It's that the terrain is more complex than you thought. You might be in one of these ditches right now. The ditch of These ditches don't come at random. They follow a progression, a predictable, spiritual, emotional, and psychological sequence that steals your clarity and eligibility in stages, setting the stakes. The reason this conversation matters is because 35 and over Christian men are under a unique squeeze, biologically, spiritually, emotionally, and culturally. Let's name it clearly. The stakes for 35 and over kingdom men. You feel the weight of time differently now. You feel urgency in your body, not desperation, but awareness. You feel the desire for marriage rising, not fading. You feel the ache for children growing sharper with every passing year. You feel like you've lived enough lives to know what you want, but not enough momentum to walk into it. You feel spiritually mature, but relationally delayed. You feel overlooked by women you respect and misunderstood by women who pursue you. You feel like God is preparing you, but you can't see how long this season is supposed to last. You're not crazy. You're not alone. You're not the only man who feels this tension. Masculine pressure increases with age, not because your value decreases, but because your purpose deepens. Biology, psychology, and spirituality research shows men experience the sharpest sense of life evaluation in their mid-30s to mid-50s. Male confidence declines sharply under prolonged uncertainty. Testosterone and dopamine dip when hope or purpose decreases. Loneliness in men is biologically more dangerous than in women. Delayed fatherhood increases urgency and emotional weight. Men interpret stagnation as failure, even when it isn't. Spiritual warfare often targets your identity, not your morality. This is the environment men are trying to date, build, pursue, and lead inside of. It's not that you can't find your path. It's that the terrain is more complex than you thought. And the terrain has four ditches. Most men don't fall into these ditches because they're weak. They fall into them because they're tired. And tired men misinterpret their condition as their identity. The four masculine ditches. Before we go any further, you need the map, because the map is half the battle. There are four ditches every kingdom man encounters, and the one you're in right now determines why you feel the way you do. The first is the passivity ditch, thinking like the one who waits instead of the one who chooses. Passivity feels spiritual, but it's paralysis in disguise. Before, you initiated with clarity. Now, you hesitate, overthink, delay, or wait for signals. You started mistaking fear for discernment. The second, the despair ditch, the slow decay of masculine hope through numbness, compromise, and drift. Despair doesn't shout, it slides. Before, you believed the future was worth building for. Now, you feel years slipping, confidence thinning, momentum fading. You started interpreting delay as disqualification. The third, the rejection ditch. masculine heartbreak, and invisibility. You're not afraid of being single. You're afraid of being unwanted. Before, you approached women with confidence. Now, you assume invisibility, misread interest, and expect disappointment. Rejection became identity instead of experience. The fourth, the quit, ditch, shut down, porn cycles, DM spirals, spiritual silence, and emotional detachment. Men don't quit outwardly, they tap out and fade out. Before, you functioned with purpose. Now, you function without meaning. Your hope went offline quietly, not dramatically. These ditches don't trap you at random. They follow a progression, a predictable spiritual, emotional, and psychological sequence that steals your clarity and eligibility in stages. Eligibility gap. Men don't wake up stuck. Men become stuck in stages. These stages are predictable. These stages have language. And once you recognize which stage you're in, you regain authority to break out of it. Let's walk through the entire masculine progression clearly. The forsaken stage. This is where the internal narrative shifts. It's not that God left you, but you begin to feel forgotten, unseen, delayed, overlooked. The forsaken stage sounds like, is something wrong with me? Why hasn't this happened yet? Why are other men getting what I'm praying for? Is God withholding something from me? Did I miss my window? The forsaken stage isn't lack of faith, it's lack of clarity. The fog stage. Once you feel forsaken, clarity fades. Fog is the stage where masculine direction becomes blurry. You don't know who to pursue. You don't know if you should wait or act. You're unsure if your standards are too high or too low. You second guess decisions. You overthink. You hesitate. You lose momentum. You misread women. You misread yourself. Fog makes simple things feel complicated. Fog makes confident men feel hesitant. Fog makes purpose feel abstract instead of concrete. The fumbling stage. Fumbling is not failure, it's misapplied effort. This is where a man starts doing the right things in the wrong ways. Pursuit without clarity, interest without boldness, effort without consistency, attraction without direction, spiritual hunger without structure, dating attempts without boundaries, desire without leadership, hope without a plan. Fumbling isn't clumsy, it's costly. This is where men waste emotional energy, lose confidence, and unintentionally reinforce the belief that nothing is working. The eligibility gap. This is the final stage. The gap between who God is shaping you to become and where you currently stand. Not because you're not ready in character, but because you've been tripping over the same ditch. The eligibility gap forms when passivity has slowed your pursuit. Despair has weakened your momentum. Rejection has lowered your expectation. Quit has disconnected your desire. The result? You feel spiritually mature, but relationally stalled. You feel wise, but directionless. You feel discerning, but inactive. You feel ready for marriage, but far from marriage. You feel like calling is real, but the progress is missing. This is the gap we're closing in this series. You may think your problem is timing, compatibility, or women today, but the real battle is deeper. Masculine identity, spiritual warfare, and the erosion of hope over time, not random. Here's why these ditches hit hardest after 35. These 4 ditches are not random. They strike men at the exact stage of life where legacy, marriage, and fatherhood become urgent. There's biological pressure. Testosterone naturally begins to shift. Desire for legacy intensifies. Emotional awareness deepens. Fatherhood desire rises, and energy management becomes crucial. There's emotional pressure. You're more self-aware. You're more selective. You've lived through enough disappointment to guard your hope. You care more about meaning than momentum. You recognize unhealthy patterns faster, but break them slower. There's spiritual pressure. You're more aware of your calling. You sense the weight of future leadership. You feel heaven shaping you. You feel hell resisting. You feel warfare in seasons you used to feel peace. There's cultural pressure. Modern dating is dysfunctional. Churches are socially complex. Godly women are guarded. The masculine role has gotten a bad rap. Attraction standards are a moving target. Communication expectations are unclear. Technology creates false intimacy, but real distance. This convergence creates a kind of pressure you can't ignore. Here's why we're breaking it down in this 5-part series, because you can't fix what you can't name. Men are not failing. Men are fatigued. The ditches are predictable and avoidable. Your desire for marriage is sacred, not desperate. Your longing for children is God-written, not biological panic. Your masculinity is under attack because your legacy threatens hell. Philippians 2 verses 19-11 says, because of this, God lifted Jesus high above everything else. He gave him a name that is greater than any other name, so that when the name of Jesus is spoken, everyone in heaven and on earth and under the earth will bow down before him, and every tongue will say, Jesus Christ is Lord. Everyone will give honor to God, the Father. Naming the ditch gives language to declare the name that's greater. Language gives clarity. Clarity gives you authority to break cycles and move forward again. Now that you've seen the map, it's time to see strategy, because every ditch requires a different restoration plan, and each plan requires a different version of you. Restoration plan. Here's what we're going to do next. 4 deep dives that meet you exactly where you are. The passivity ditch, the man who starts thinking like the one who waits instead of the one who chooses. You'll learn how to reclaim initiative, leadership, and masculine direction. The despair ditch, when hope drains slowly over months or years, you'll learn how to rebuild masculine strength, clarity, and confidence. The rejection ditch, when being overlooked changes the way you see yourself. You'll learn how to rebuild identity, restore visibility, and reconnect to courage. The quit ditch, when masculine hope goes offline and a man shuts down. You'll learn how to reactivate your spiritual drive, emotional presence, and sense of meaning. Each episode is designed to help you rise from the ditch you're currently in and prevent you from drifting into the next one. And before we close today, I'm giving you a lifeline, something essential, something foundational, something every man in this journey needs, and it's coming soon. It's going to reshape the way you see yourself, your readiness, and your path toward godly marriage. Eligibility Assessment. As this series takes off, you have a lifeline out of all 4 ditches. We'll be sharing a free tool in part 2 that'll help you understand exactly where you stand and where you need to go. It's not guesswork, not vague advice, not trial and error. A clear, strategic, personalized assessment built for kingdom men 35 and over. This is not a personality quiz. It's not a dating gimmick. This is a diagnostic tool to help you locate your ditches, recalibrate your readiness, and understand both your strengths and your gaps with clarity. We're finalizing the free 9-question Kick-Ask Eligibility Assessment, a simple, precise, insight-rich gauge of where you actually are on your road toward marriage and fatherhood. It's coming soon. I'll share the link in part 2 of this series. And if you're in the future, the link is in the description, because the goal isn't to judge you. The goal is to position you. Now let's bring it all together, not with pressure, not with shame, but with the clarity a man needs to rise. This is for the note takers. You're welcome. Your problem? You've been treating your singleness like a mystery. You've been trying to fix symptoms instead of diagnosing the real issue. You've been fighting for progress without understanding the terrain. Your agitation? Years of hesitation, overthinking, feeling behind, years of losing confidence, assuming something's wrong with you, years of watching other men move forward while you feel stalled, years of trying your best without knowing why it isn't landing. You're not behind, but you are tripped up. And if you don't name the ditch can become part of your identity. Your solution? Recognize the ditch you're in. Understand the progression you've walked through. Rebuild your identity from clarity, not confusion. Reclaim masculine initiative, vision, and courage. Walk in purpose instead of paralysis. Prepare for covenant, not chaos. Don't do this alone. Leverage your kingdom community because you can get out of any ditch when you know exactly which one trips you up. You're finishing part 1 here. Before now, you've been trying to become marriageable without understanding the war you're in. You've been walking alone, fighting blind, blaming timing instead of terrain, and carrying the pressure without language. After today, you'll walk with clarity. You'll understand your ditch. You'll see the next step instead of guessing, and you'll regain masculine traction. You'll rebuild your confidence, your pursuit, and your readiness. This isn't about a dating strategy. It's about identity, about legacy, about becoming the husband, father, and man God is shaping you into. The 4 ditches are not your destiny. They're your turning point. And this series is the beginning of your rise. Here's where to go next. Every ditch exposes a different part of the masculine journey. The next 4 episodes in this series gives you a fresh resi to rise. And when the free 9-question eligibility assessment drops, it's yours. Use it. It'll show you exactly what's holding you back and exactly what's going to move you forward. This is a 5-part series that'll help you avoid these 4 most notorious ditches that keep men single. Part 2 will get you out of the passivity ditch for good. If you're in the future, you can watch right here for the whole series. The 4 ditches that keep men single. Meanwhile, you can watch this spicy episode next. Tune in every week for marriageable insights. I'm Rowena Rodriguez, your marriageability guide, because many are eligible, but few are marriageable. Until next time, be encouraged. You're not single by accident. Your singleness is not happening to you. It's happening for you.